Hey guys, we are going to do another rendition of showing you more about the area. I was thinking this week, if I was moving to a new area and I had no idea what was going on, where to go, where to find things, pros, cons, entertainment, dining, all that stuff, where would I think to start to find it? So you guys have access to this channel, so I'm going to go ahead and use everything that I can think of, even just driving it around on a regular basis, to clue you in on where you can find things and what areas might appeal to you based upon the different amenities that are available in the area. And I do all of this because, once again, I'm a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida. My job is to help you find your Florida home. So if you need anything beyond what you find in this video, I'll give you an opportunity to share other videos or to find other videos, or call, text, and email just like everyone else. We also have a mobile app, and you can always do a Zoom call with me. But let's get into breaking down Cape Coral once again and exploring the four quadrants. Okay, so the Southwest Cape, it is super appealing to people for a few reasons. Number one, newer construction. People like newer, just as a general rule. Now, I've had some clients recently say, hey, I like the character and the charm of some of the older homes, so I want to look at those, especially if they've been remodeled. So there are going to be some exceptions to that, but the Southwest offers one other thing that probably has more of it than anywhere else in the Cape, and that is the saltwater canals and freshwater canals. So you either want a canal for entertainment purposes to maybe fish in. You're not going to swim in it. I'm going to answer that right now. You can. That's your choice. But anything that's in the Gulf of Mexico can be in that canal. I've seen manatees as far up the canal system as an hour. So they're definitely there. And if a manatee can make it there, I'm pretty much going to guarantee a shark can too. So you take your chances if you'd like to jump in that canal. But most of our canal front homes have pools, so you might be better off jumping in the pool instead. But the waterfront living is a huge, huge, huge part of that puzzle, on top of the newer homes. So those are going to be the top two reasons. And this area also has a few gated communities. So if you're a gated community kind of person, you can find a number of them, like Royalty or Cape Royal, whichever it's called now. It's had both names over the years. It's an exclusive golf course community. There is a restaurant inside, a pro shop, a driving range. So all the wonderful things for you golfers out there. And the lots are larger. You have more space around you. You're not jammed in. Now, speaking of jammed in, then we can go over to Sandoval. Sandoval is a family resort style community. It is gated. It is highly desirable by many people. Many, many homes in here. I think there's about 1,500 doors in the entire complex. And it is condos, villas, which a villa is going to be kind of like a duplex. Then there's a smaller single family home style, and then the estate homes. So lots of different options within this community. There are a ton of amenities. So if you're somebody that likes to gather with your friends and family and do some different activities, this community has it all. Cape Harbor is also going to be in the Southwest, a little more exclusive than either of the other two. And it is going to give you access to a marina, if that's your thing. Within that area, there's also restaurants and shops and things of that sort, but fully gated. You will need a pass to get in this place. Outside of that, Heatherwood Lakes, it's another smaller community, not very many amenities in there at all. So this is not a place you're going to go if you're looking for all those amenities. And we also have Trafalgar Woods. Trafalgar Woods is another exclusive yet smaller community. Beautiful homes, all start right around the million mark on up. Again, larger lots right in the middle of the Southwest area. So you do have options with gated communities. There's going to be a couple others that I may have forgotten. I know there's one down off of Sands, down on your way to Cape Harbor. Not quite as exclusive as Cape Harbor is, but it's there as well. So gated communities can be found in this area if that's your thing. Yes, they will all have HOAs, so you have to be okay with following somebody else's rules. But that is where you're going to find the majority of our gated communities, the Southwest Cape. Now, proximity to beaches, I don't even know why this is on the list, because the proximity to a beach, your best way is going to be to jump on a boat and cross over. That's what I have to do. I keep my boat up at Burnstorm Marina, if you do not remember that, and I cut across to the beaches. Takes me about 25 minutes. If you're driving by car, Southwest isn't going to take the longest. That would be the Northwest, but You're going to go cross the Southern Bridge, which is the Cape Coral Parkway Bridge, and shoot down San Carlos. That'll get you down to the beach. If it's not a busy day because of a holiday or weekend, you'll probably be down there in 30 to 40 minutes. But once again, if you go to the beach, you're generally going for the day, not just for an hour or two, unless you're somebody that's just going for sunsets. You can find sunsets up in this area. Just hop on out to Matlacha and you'll find waterfront places that you can watch sunsets, or go down to the boathouse. We're going to talk about the boathouse, obviously, because that's in the southeast. It's one of my favorites, and it will definitely make it to this list. Now, one of the cons about this area is the fact that the prices are the highest in the area. Newer homes, waterfront. Now, median pricing, I did nothing as far as waterfront, not waterfront, any of that. This is as plain Jane as it can get. And the median price over the last 12 months was 475,000. It could get kicked up to a little closer to 500, but right now, for all intent and purpose, 475 was the number. It is the highest on the list. So that is a con. And the tourism. This is going to be the southeast and the southwest because tourism does affect us. The traffic gets kicked up. The restaurants get busy. You can't get a seat unless you put a reservation, if they accept reservations, or you're gonna have to modify your schedule of when you eat to get into these different places. Entertainment venues, same thing. If there's live music going on, it's going to be packed. So just plan ahead, understand it's what's going to be, and that's all you can do. Roll with it. Oh, by the way, this image behind me, this is in the southwest. This is one of the beautiful neighborhoods right off of Sands Boulevard. This is a golf access place. So you are going to pay more money for these homes. These are probably $1 million homes plus, but that's what you're going to find in the Southwest Cape. All right, so attractions and entertainment. In this area in the Southwest, there's a couple things to know. First of all, we have a lot of schools in the area too. So if you don't like car lines, or you don't like the kind of people in your way kind of deal, avoid the schools. Don't live near a school. Don't have a home right on the main road next to the school. The car lines can get excessive. Outside of that, as far as attraction and entertainment, we've got a BMX park, we've got a skate park, we've got a water park, so that's Sunsplash, an Eagle skate park. There's also Gator Mikes. There's some zip lines there, some mini golf courses, all kinds of stuff to do. I already mentioned all the canals to go fishing. We usually go to an area that we can get underneath the bridge, so we're shaded on a sunny day and we fish. It was a great time. Now we have the boat. We don't have to do that, but there are plenty of these canals to fish in. The one thing I will caution you on, you cannot use a cast net off the seawall. If you do that, you can get fined. It's considered an unfair advantage over the fish when you throw the net from above. Another thing that can be found in the Southwest Cape is Rotary Park. It's a dog park, and you can take your furry little friends down there. And Sandoval does have 2 dog parks within its community. So we are very supportive of our little furry friends, and you'll have places to take them and let them be entertained too. Now, as far as where you're going to go for some other entertainment and some dining, Cape Harbor Marina, it does have Fathoms and Run Runners down there. There's a couple other smaller restaurants as well, a bunch of shops. You can get some gelato down there. And this is where you're going to find some live music. Tuesdays during season is normally when they have bike night, so there'll be live music going on, plenty of people. So if you're into that kind of a thing, you're going to find it there. Another place is Tarpon Point Marina. This is where you're going to find Pinchers and Marker 92, Naughty Mermaid. So a number of different choices down there. Gather is another new one down there. So lots of eating opportunities, and the Westin is down there. So if you need a hotel and you want something a little more exclusive with some really nice views, go on over to the Westin down in Tarpon Point. Now we're talking about dining. I already mentioned Rum Runners. You've seen some other videos where we were down there. There's also the Lobster Lady. Overtime is a really good pizza and American cuisine kind of a place on the way down to Cape Harbor as well. Duffy's is a sports bar, tons of TVs, 2-for-1 specials all day long, and pretty decent food. So you're going to have options. There's a ton more stuff in the area. We have some great pizza shops here as well. Leilulo's is one that I really like. There's a Chicago pizza over on the east side, but that doesn't go in the Southwest. So let me stop now. We'll add that when we talk about it when we get to the Southeast. Now, before we get to the Southeast, I want to stop in the Northwest, and there's a reason behind this. We just talked about how nice it is down in the Southwest, right? Well, the Northwest is the area that's growing the most. It has the most growth potential. I have a lot of clients asking me, okay, so where is the best place to put my money if I'm looking for growth? Well, when something's not built up very well and doesn't have a lot of amenities and doesn't have a lot of shopping and dining options, when you add those things, the value is going to increase, right? So we're going to talk about the Northwest. One of the things the Southwest has over the Northwest also is the water and sewer is already put into just about every neighborhood. So you won't have any further construction in that regard. However, assessments are mostly paid in that area too. That's why the property value is a little higher. Now, up in the Northwest, the median price is only 380,000. So 380,000 versus our 475, yeah, you're going to save a bit of money. Now, with that 380 median price, you're still getting newer construction. New construction is another highlight of the Northwest, regardless of whether you're on well and septic. With well and septic, I would recommend getting a whole home reverse osmosis. It's what my builder recommends. It's what he has in his Northwest home. But up in the Northwest, there's a couple things you should know. The neighborhoods are very spread out. The amount of vacant land there is tremendous. So if you're somebody who wants some open space and some privacy, you'll even have opportunities to buy the land around you and make your plot of land even bigger. Now, there is golf access up in this area, and the golf access that I'm talking about, we're still talking $1 million homes. It's very, very difficult to find golf access and new construction golf access for a cheap price. So I know we've seen a lot of golf access come down in price. We're even seeing it in the 500s now. But that's usually older construction, and you're going to be giving up some things in order to have it. But if the golf access is number one on your list and you don't care about the age of the home, we can find you something affordably now where previously it was very difficult. But this new construction stuff, it's still going to be difficult. So keep that in mind when you're looking for a home in this area. Now, as far as communities, there really aren't communities up in the Northwest. There are subdivisions. There's Coral Oaks area. There are homes that sit on a golf course, but they're not gated. There is one condo community that sits, it's still considered Southwest. So I'm not going to label it Northwest, but the one that I can think of that just came in not too long ago was Stonewater. I did a video on it previously. Stonewater is a D.R. Horton community, and they build a nice home. They've got some great views on some of these large lakes they have up there, but it's the only gated community up in the Northwest that I can think of off the top of my head. Now, the other thing that they're lacking up in the Northwest is schools. There really aren't any. We've got the Mariner Middle School, Mariner High School, and Oasis North. Those are the main schools there. There is one other, but I think it got beat up in the storm. It's way over by Santa Barbara, so it's just on the line of southeast, southwest, or northeast, northwest. And that's going to be the limit for schools. So again, you're going to find most of the schools in the southern end of the city. Now, nature and space, yeah, man, we got lots of it here. We already looked at where we can go fishing and stuff. The other thing that's pretty cool is we have a bike path or a walking path that goes from all the way up on Kismet and might be even a little bit further, and it comes all the way down Burnt Store and wraps around Veterans Parkway all the way out to the river. So you've got miles of this trail, and this trail is probably 6 feet wide. So electric bikes, pedal bikes, electric scooters, whatever you think you feel most comfortable on. If you want to just go for a run or go for a walk, it is off the main road, so you're not going to be dealing with traffic. And again, a lot of shade trees along the way on the southern end. They haven't really put them up into the northern end yet. So if you're going to be walking out there, make sure you got the long sleeves, the hat, maybe put some sunblock on, because the sun is out more days than it's not. That's the best thing about Florida. Now, one of the difficulties about being in the Northwest is the distance to your amenities. So if you're trying to go to a grocery store, yeah, there's a grocery store, it's Publix, but there's really not many of them. And if you're looking for any kind of clothes shopping, you're gonna have to drop into the Southwest. Northwest just doesn't have anything. There's a Dollar Tree or a Dollar General. So that kind of stuff might be there, but it is severely lacking any kind of shopping. Is it's all still down the Southwest, right off of Pine Island Road. That's going to be what's closest and most accessible. Also, you can drop into Matlacha. There's some little, it's a little fishing village, so it has some shops and restaurants there. They're going to be a little bit more artistic based It's not going to be like a franchise or a corporate kind of a thing like you're going to find in the other areas. Also, the other thing you're going to have a little bit more difficulty with is traveling to things like the airport, the beach, work. If you have to go into Fort Myers, Northwest is going to be your furthest from the bridges. So if you have to use the bridges, try to stay a little closer to them, maybe the Northeast or Southeast, and that'll cut down your commute time. Infrastructure is another problem in the Northwest. They still have four-way stops in most every intersection. It's the craziest thing ever. You'd think that we start adding some stoplights. Um, I don't know if roundabouts would help because more people seem to be confused about how to use a roundabout than the four-way stop, but they're everywhere. Stop signs are all over up there, so you have to get used to that. And as I already mentioned, well and septic, so you're eventually going to have to deal with assessments. Assessments right now are $37,000, and it's amortized over about 20 to 25 years. So you'll have it on your tax bill. It's not something you're necessarily paying every month. Now, what they're also going to be doing is adding a lot more things up north. I mentioned this already. Well, we've got the Seven Island project that's been talked about forever, and it looks like it's going to push forward. We've got commercial areas all up and down Burnt Store that are already pre-plotted for that. So there's going to be more businesses coming in up there. We are also adding, unfortunately, apartment complexes everywhere. There's one that's technically still considered Southwest, but it's north of Pine Island Road, and it's a massive complex. It's all rentals. So if you're going to live in that neighborhood, understand there's going to be a lot of traffic trying to get in and out of that neighborhood, and you might want to go a little further away. Now, in this area, the attractions would be Coral Oaks Golf Course. It's a city course. They do have different leagues that run throughout the summer months that you can participate in if you'd like. Also, up in the north area, there's the Seahawk Park. My son had a great time when he was younger. We went up there. He met some of the gentlemen. They fly the little remote control airplanes up there. It's really cool. We were up there volunteering for something, and it gave him the opportunity to try flying these little planes. Very cool thing to do, and it's right up on the northwest end, kind of away from everything. Out in this area, there's an area called Cetus Parkway, and back in this area, there is a little park, Serenia Vista Park. I hope I pronounced that properly. But back in there, they have a kayak launch. People go out there fishing. So it's a really cool spot. And just before that, you've got Joe Stonis Park, and that is, again, technically southwest, north of Pine Island Road, but it's a nicer community. It's a nicer subdivision. It's kind of built up like what we showed you, like this. It's got a little bit more of that going on. But as you keep going north, they're adding parks all the time just because outdoor space is something that's vitally important. Right off of Tropicana, they're putting in all the way west, all the way over in the spreader. They're going to put it in a new park there that will have walking trails and shaded covered areas and playgrounds. So the city's really focusing on giving more and more of the green space. All right, as far as dining, again, it's going to be very limited. You're going to have to drop into Matlacha to go to Michelli's. We've shown you that before. Michelli's is very, very good food. Live music at times right on the water. And then the Yucatan Grill just opened back up after the storm. It's a very nice place as well. Kind of a tiki feel to it on the water. Beautiful views. Outside of that, Blue Dog's out there. It's a smaller place. People tend to really love the food there. I haven't been there personally. And then there's the Burnt Store Tavern, which is over in the Publix Plaza at the north end of the plaza. But again, that's what your limits are at this point. More things will be coming in. And it really is a short drive right back over in the southwest on Pine Island Road to find many more dining options like Bonefish Grill and Carrabba's. Texas Tony's is over there. Culver's is there. Buffalo Wild Wings is there. So you're going to have plenty of options, but you're going to have to travel just a little bit. Now, up in this area, the landscaping is lacking. It's not this. You're not finding this. There'll be a couple select homes that will have some palm trees on it, but you're not going to have a fully developed subdivision like you would in the Southwest. Okay, so now we're going to go to another favorite, which is the Southeast. Southeast would probably take the cake as the top spot if it wasn't older. Most everything's older there. Yes, some homes get knocked down, get replaced with new, but the overwhelming majority of them is usually going to be in the 70s, 1970s. There's going to definitely be a lot of 1960s. You might find some 1980s, but once you get up towards the 2000s, you're normally going to have to head west. But in this area, it's well established, All the neighborhoods have their full landscaping in it. Um, you're going to have to go through and drive these neighborhoods and discern whether they're for you or not, because given the older structure of these homes, it can look a little beat up in some neighborhoods if it hasn't been cared for well. I will say that many neighborhoods, especially off of Country Club, one of my favorite roads, they take very good care of their older homes. So the neighborhood's nice, but in the Southeast, what you're going to find, there's a ton of condos there, a ton. It's like this place was really set up for all the seasonal folks and they just wanted a condo instead of a house. But there are so many condo complexes in the Southeast. That's where you're going to go if you really want that style of living. The Southwest has some condos, not nearly as many as the Southeast. And as I mentioned with the Northwest, there are really none up there. So if that's your style of living, that's not where it's going to be. Back in the Southeast, this is also where a ton of restaurants are. The downtown area, we've been down there numerous times, and recently we just showed you Backstreet and Nevermind. We are over at Merrick Fishtail. Tito's Cantina is down there, so that's something you can take in. The Tiki Bar is down there, Monkey Bar is down there. Um, there's a bunch of them. Just go down there, Rusty's, Ralph's. Just spend a day there. Check out all the different options you have. Cape Cabaret's there, so plenty of entertainment in that downtown area. And there's also on Saturdays a farmers market that's always had in the town square. In this area, the median price is about 400,000. Because it's so central, it is desirable. It's again just that age of home thing. In this area, what you're also going to find is a ton of new apartments, luxury apartments. The Cove at 47th and Bimini Square are both there within a quarter mile of each other. These are going to be luxury units starting as small as a studio, going all the way up to a 3-bed, 2-bath. Inside the building is going to be a restaurant. The parking garage is underneath. There's going to be shops there. And it's the one walkable thing that we have here. They finally put in something that makes it really walkable. So you can go right out the door and be at other restaurants and do some of your shopping and never even need to get in a car. That is an added bonus. Now, as I mentioned, what would be considered a con is some of the older homes, some of the older infrastructure, because once that infrastructure is in there, it's very hard to change. They did put one roundabout in the downtown area just as a trial, I believe, because it's the only one that we have in the city. So is it working out? I don't know. But getting around this roundabout, it does feel rather tight in a truck. So keep that in your mind if you're coming down Vincennes and 47th. That's where it's located. The other con for this area is the population density. There's going to be many more people here just because the home styles, given you're putting condos in these buildings and you might have 30, 40, 50 of them in the strip. Those people all park cars. Those people, I mean, it's usually 2 people in a unit in most cases. So there's going to be many more people. And again, given all the restaurants and the entertainment there, the many more people. So if you're not a people person, the Southeast might not be for you. Now, what the Southeast does still offer is the golf access. So you're going to find some really good golf access here. Everything east of Del Prado is direct access. That means no bridges. So whether it's an older home or not, that might be perfect for you, especially if you have a bigger boat and need a larger canal. The canals tend to be a little bit wider over on the east side. And then straight down to the south, everything in the yacht club area, those are no bridges as well. So very good access. The good access also makes the prices a little bit higher, even though they're older homes. Now down in this area, you're going to find the yacht club. They're rehashing the whole thing. It's being completely redone. It's going to take a few years. And there's not a lot of agreement on whether we like it or not because everybody has an opinion. But I'll tell you this, there's almost no parking down there as it is, unless you want to go for a long walk, because this is the same area that you're going to find the Boathouse. The Boathouse is a very popular restaurant here. You can pull boats up to it. You can park there. They're trying to add to the parking down there because there's not a lot of it. And our little beach. We have this little Cape Coral beach. The water's brown, so it's not like the Gulf. However, it's the silt coming down the river, so not really anybody's fault. But the Boathouse is going to give you great water views. It's a massive tiki outside. Great for having drinks and some light food there. They do have some entrees, but not a ton of them. But the food was pretty decent. And, again, the ambiance is amazing. You just can't find any better than Cape Coral. Some of the other places you're going to find in this area are going to be Ford's Garage. Some of the best burgers that you can absolutely have. I've always enjoyed going to this place. It doesn't have any waterfront or anything like that, which is one of my top things. However, due to the food and the service there, I can overlook that. Merrick's Fishtail is also down here, wonderful for brunches. You might have seen the video where I took Zach and Joey there, and we had brunch. Absolutely amazing. Is every time I go there. And Tito's Cantina is down here as well. So lots of stuff, lots of places that you can go and dine. And, you park the car and you can spend a whole day down there because it's so convenient in this area. If they do an art walk in Cape Coral, they shut down Cape Coral Parkway, pretty much the whole downtown area, all the way over to Del Prado, and put the tents up right in the middle of the road. So people can walk up and down, check out all the art. They'll do another one for Christmas when we get into that season. But this is the area if they're going to hold any events. They do the red, white, and boom on that Cape Coral bridge as well. So they block off the entire road down there. They have a band that plays. I think Parmalee was here this year. Dan and Shay might have been the year before, but they have some nice acts that come in for that. And obviously the fireworks. That's what everybody's there for anyway. This is another area you're not going to find a bunch of gated communities. You'll find, like I said, tons of condos. You're going to find subdivisions. They will feel much like a community only because of the fact that the canals naturally block off the neighborhood. So there's usually only one or two ways in and out of these neighborhoods because the canals break it all up. And lastly, we're to the Northeast Cape. Yes, Northeast Cape is probably not the most desirable, but I will tell you this, they're adding a ton of stuff. The community itself is probably, I don't know if I'd say it's tighter knit than any of the other areas, but it's a smaller section of the city than any of the others. And with that, you're starting to get more and more access to amenities. We now have a Mission Barbecue up there. We have a Crumble Cookie. We have a tire. I think is it a tire? I don't know what tire place it is, but you can get your automotive needs met up there. We've got the Lowe's up there. There is Publix. Chick-fil-A, our only Chick-fil-A in the Cape is up in the Northeast. And the hospital, while the address will say Southeast, it's on the north end of the Southeast. So I'm going to almost call it the Northeast. But that's what you're going to find mostly up in that area. It is expanding again right off of Pine Island Road, a lot of stuff. And it's the fastest way to drop into downtown Fort Myers over every other place in the Cape. So if you know you're working downtown Fort Myers or you just want quick access to downtown Fort Myers, you might want to be in the Northeast. It's going to be quicker to go that way. And if you find a Gulf Access property up in this area, because the way we coordinate it, it's not really considered the Northeast anymore. It actually becomes North Fort Myers. But if you bought in one of those neighborhoods, then you just zip right across to the downtown on a boat. Up in this area, you're going to find some gated communities, believe it or not. They're just going to be further up in the Northeast. I mean, further up. So if you're wanting to stay close to things that are happening, the Northeast is not going to be for you. When I say things happening, like that downtown stuff in the Southeast I was telling you about, it's going to take you a while to get down there because you're going to have to go Del Prado. Del Prado is our busiest road. If you catch it right, like I did this afternoon, there wasn't a lot of traffic on it. But you catch it at any prime hour, it is stacked. And forget about it if you add rain on top of that. It just becomes a complete show. The median price in the Northeast is only $360,000, so it makes it our most affordable of the entire city. There is a lot of new stuff going on up there too. And this is where Kevin's home was. Remember, he had some difficulty selling his home because the assessment's going in. Well, he did sell it. I think you might remember that. And that area is going to be clear of that part of the assessment change here in the next 6 months. Usually takes about 1.5 to 2 years to finish one section of the city as they're doing the change over to water and sewer. Now, in the Northeast, I'm not going to say it's really busy, but what I did notice, they took a lot of their lots that were up there, their vacant lots, and they converted them to commercial for duplexes. So you're going to find a high number of duplexes in this area. So it is going to be more of an investment kind of an area. Once again, not going to have a lot of landscaping. It's not going to be lush and beautiful like the South is. And again, because of all the duplexes going in there, it's not going to necessarily feel like a standard community. It's not going to feel like what you know a subdivision to feel like with single family homes. There's just a ton of duplexes. Anyway, that's beside the point. There are schools up there. Just about every area of Cape Coral has schools for the kids to go to. Northwest would be the most challenged, but as you heard, there's even places up there. Outside of that, The traffic density is only building because of the new things going in. So everybody keeps asking for growth, but they don't want the traffic. They come hand in hand. So just again, be patient up in this area. One of the busier intersections would be Pine Island and Del Prado. But this is again where all those new shops and things and restaurants I mentioned, that's where they're all going in, is right on that intersection. Now, up in this area, I did mention the gated communities, and then the names of those would be things like Coral Lakes, Entrada, um, Concordia, Bella Vita. Those are just a couple of the ones that are up there. And if you keep pushing on into the Fort Myers section, then you can get into some mobile home parks if that's something you're looking for. All right, so that's a little bit more about the four quadrants. Some of the things you're going to find there, some of the things you're going to deal with if you live there. If you need more information, check out one of these videos. And if there's anything else I can do for you, you've got to call, text, email, use the app, schedule a Zoom call, whatever it is, we'll get you hooked up because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.